Good morning. What's going on, people? Welcome to United View and welcome to your latest episode of United News, man. Basically, we have got a lot to talk about as per usual. Straight off the bat, straight into it. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to this channel if you are new. Comments, get in the comments. Let us know how you're feeling this morning. Let us know where you're watching from. Just getting your morning coffee, getting your morning hot chocolate or your late night dinner, wherever you are in the world. We've got a lot to get through. El Ghazi transfer, fake news. We'll start off the show with fake news. Yeah, and I'm glad it's fake news that has been confirmed as fake news by a lot of journalists regarding the El Ghazi situation. Honestly, we'll talk about it in a second. Hag and Sancho talks as well, because the fact that Man United aren't going to get an emergency loan, what does that show? What does it mean? And also, there were
not even emergency loan, free agent.
Well, free agent. Yeah, free agent. So what does that mean in terms of the Sancho situation? We're going to talk about maybe what could have happened in the talks that supposedly happened yesterday. So we've got to talk that. New shirt sponsor as well. Bruno the Magnifico. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Oh, they were playing against Luxembourg Flex. Leave it out. He ain't that good. Tell him to do that against Liverpool. That's what it will be. Yes, but a lot to talk about. But Owen.
Yes.
Owen. Right. El Ghazi transfer.
Shall I give you a timeline?
Happening. Give me a timeline.
I'll give you a timeline.
Yeah.
I'll give you a timeline of what happened last night. So late last night, it was breaking news flex from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. It was an exclusive from the Daily Mail saying that Manchester United are considering a shock move to sign Dutch winger Anwar El Ghazi. Of course, used to play for Aston Villa. Also was on at loan at Everton. Last season was at PSV. And this is all because of the uncertainty hanging over Anthony and Jadon Sancho, and particularly when it comes to that right-hand side. So Chris Wheeler then also said that El Ghazi left PSV Eindhoven by mutual consent last week. He has offers from Saudi Arabia, but Manchester United could give him the opportunity to make a Premier League return. Now, this was in the middle of all of this discussion about possible talks between Jadon Sancho and Erik ten Hag, which we'll get to shortly. It then kind of came out that maybe it wasn't Manchester United going for El Ghazi, more El Ghazi and his agent going for Manchester United, because James Ducker from The Telegraph said that Manchester United had been offered Anwar El Ghazi. The club are exploring their options amid uncertainty around Anthony and Jadon Sancho. But it's come out this morning from a variety of different sources. I can pick one here. Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic saying that Manchester United are not interested in Anwar El Ghazi after the proposal made by agents. The right-wing options affected by Anthony's withdrawal and Jadon Sancho's situation, but Facundo Pellistri was kept with a view to featuring, plus Alejandro Garnacho could play there, Bruno Fernandes / Mason Mount too, if necessary. Now, can I start this one off, Flex? Can I start this one off?
Yes.
I said something similar to what Laurie Whitwell said last night. I said, and I think a lot of people said this, didn't they? They went, Facundo Pellistri. That's the answer. The question was, Anwar El Ghazi to Manchester United. And the answer wasn't even a yes or a no. It was Facundo Pellistri. That's the answer to that question, right? And a follow-up post I put to that was, we've got Facundo Pellistri. We've got Ahmad. Now, I know you could say Ahmad's injured for a while, but you go, okay, put him to one side. You've then also got Alejandro Garnacho, and you've got Mason Mount. And I heard people respond back, or I had people respond back, going, Garnacho, he's never really played there on the right-hand side, so I don't know what you're talking about. He came on against Arsenal on the right-hand side and was in, millimeters of scoring a goal. I think he can do it. Also, as well, what happened to, I don't know, the coaching players, training them, improving them? These are young players. You can mold them to any position. Someone like a Garnacho, wouldn't it benefit his game to not only be able to play on the left, but also play on the right-hand side as well, also play through the middle, in addition to the other options that we have, like Mason Mount too, who can play there as well, particularly in the midfield. There's a lot of solutions. There's a lot of options there as well. I saw people, Flex, trying to justify this last night. I saw people try and justify signing Anwar El Ghazi, going, well,
No, I didn't even get that far. I didn't even see that.
Oh, yeah, it did. Disgrace. What are your thoughts?
Like, as soon as I saw it, we do that thing, innit? Because we know we know that Man United are capable. Do you know what I mean? We know that Man United are capable.
You choke on your words. It's
that
disgusting.
Choke. I've got my war here. We know that Man United are capable of doing something like that. Do you know what I mean? That's what initially made me think, no, please don't. Let's not do this. Don't do that. There's enough players in our squad that can handle this situation without having to get our Ghazi on loan. So, I thought, please don't be true. And then I'm like, but hold on a minute. Well, you've got Palestri there. I don't want to see Bruno out there. I don't potentially want to see Mount out there, but or you might have to switch it up and put Garnacho there for a game or half a game. Just find a solution. Find a solution. Stop getting players that were never part. And this is me talking in my head at the time, by the way. I was like, just stop getting all these short-term fixes and of players that were never part of the plan. I know like things happen and you got to change the route, but let's not do that. Do you know what I mean? Let's not do that. So the players that we've got, let's just back them to do a good job and get the manager to sort it out and coach his way out of it. And then, that's
if I was Facundo Palestri, if this happened, thankfully it's not happening. And maybe to give United some credit, they don't deserve a lot at the moment, but to give them some credit, it would appear massively agent driven. He's without a club at the moment. There are, Saudi offers on the table and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, it's an agent looking at an opportunity and going, hey, I've got a right winger on my books. They might need a right winger. They've got right wingers that are missing. I'll see what happens. He's a Dutch, he's played in Holland. Ten Hag might know him. So, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the criteria sometimes for signing players at United in recent history. Does Ten Hag know them? Is he aware of them? Are they Dutch? Yes, bring them in. So it was looking like it was just agent driven. But if I was Facundo Palestri and this had happened, as you see, Anthony go on a leave of absence, Jadon Sancho, his more immediate future looking uncertain. I think it's quite strange, this idea that he just can't be reintegrated before January. That seems a bit off to me. I mean, I know, like I said, there's been criticism of Sancho and all this kind of stuff, and the tweet's still pinned on his profile and stuff like that. But the idea that Flexi's just not going to be back, Jadon Sancho's not going to come back, I don't kind of see that. But if I was Facundo Palestri and all of this is going on, I've had talks. They said this. They had talks with Erik ten Hag over the summer. Am I going to go out on loan or am I going to stay here and play? You're going to stay here. You're going to have some game time. Obviously,
some impact.
You're going to have some impact. And then they brought in Anwar Al Ghazi. I'd do a Jadon Sancho. This is a disgrace. Pin comment.
You go on social media.
You'd be like, what's the point? Like, what is the point at that point? You bring in someone that was at Villa a few years ago, had a low move to Everton, didn't work out. You'd be like, come on, man. And some of the responses as well as getting, well, none of them have got experience. Oh, wait a minute. I was like, Facundo Palestri, he's played, 13 times for Uruguay. In his 2 loan spells at Alaves in La Liga, he's played over 30 times in La Liga. That's enough experience for me to give him a go. Alejandro Garnacho, they're still saying, well, Garnacho doesn't have that much experience. He's got a season of football under his belt, and he scored goals in big games. He's ready. And sometimes, like we spoke about yesterday with players, it's just about opportunity and timing. When Marcus Rashford came into the first team squad, did he have a bunch of experience? No. Circumstances dictated that he had to be thrown in at the deep end. And sometimes it's sink or swim. These players live for this kind of opportunity. They dream of this opportunity. Sometimes it is just about circumstances. Hey, other stuff has happened. I was never that high up at the pecking order. I got my shot. There was a foot in the door and I kicked it down. And now I'm the starter and everyone else is going for. Maybe, Facundo comes in and does really well. Maybe that just really does sum up Jadon Sancho's future in January. We don't even need him now because we've got Facundo. It's his spot. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. And this is the time when it's the perfect opportunity for someone like Palestri to get some minutes. Even if you're not going to start him, like he's in there in the squad, ready to contribute because you're two wingers down in his position. It's always been guys ahead of Palestri, right? There's been Elanga, there's been Garnacho at times when we was working out where he plays. Obviously Sancho, but he's done most of his work from the left. And then obviously Anthony comes in for big money. They were both out at the same time, but when Ahmad came back, it's like he's done really well at Sunderland. Is he maybe ahead of Palestri? It's going to make it difficult. But all of a sudden, it's like, and I know there's not a lot of like sample size, but Palestri's ended up last man standing, which is insane considering he ain't played. He's ended up by default the last man standing by hook or by crook, by one way or another, however the circumstances have gone, from the Anthony situation to the Sancho situation to injury to Ahmad. You look at it and you go, well, who's the most recognised right winger? It is Pellistri. Pellistri doesn't play from the left. I don't think I've seen him play from the left for us. Anytime he's come on, he's always come on the right. Yes, maybe during the game he might have interchanged and ended up there for a bit. I'm not saying he cannot do that. But if I was to say to everyone, what is Pellistri's position? It's a right winger. If I was to say to everyone what position is Garnacho, it's a left winger. What position is Anthony? He's a right winger. Sancho's the one where we're still like, bloody hell. We bought him for the right-hand side, but every time he gets used, it's been from the left ever since we bought him, really. So he's a left winger, if we're being honest. Sancho's done his best work from left wing. So it's like Pellistri's the last man standing in his actual position, and he deserves a chance. He deserved the chance before we was even talking about this.
Yeah, exactly. Before,
Do you know what I mean?
Before the drama with Anthony and Sancho, people were saying
Like,
then,
give him a chance.
Well, give him a go. Why don't
when
you
Anthony was playing every game, they were like, I don't know if Pellistri could be worse than this.
Yeah,
at one point, that's what it was. And then in the last couple of games, I think against Forest and Arsenal, Anthony was okay. He was okay. But in them the couple games before that, every time Pellistri plays, it's refreshing. And we're like, just give him a game just give him a Premier League game, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, in a couple of weeks' time, let's be honest, the sort of right winger dilemma might be completely different, because in a couple of weeks' time, and I was kind of hinted at this with Sancho a second ago, that unless they've had these talks, which we'll get to shortly, but unless they've gone, catastrophically bad, I don't see the idea that Jadon Sancho will never play for Manchester United ever again between now and January at the very least. You know what I mean? So my sort of feeling would be in a couple of weeks' time, Jadon Sancho will be back in the squad, and hopefully it'll be resolved and they'll move on. Even if it is a thing of like, look, let's just get to January, then we'll put you out on loan, or we'll wait till the end of the season, then you can go because it's not working here or whatever. Surely he should be available in a couple of weeks' time. You've also got someone like Mason Mount that can do that job there. So even the Ghazi thing, I just looked at that as, unless it was like a short-term thing to January, I'm not sure it made most sense anyway, because in a couple of weeks' time, he might just be just another player on the books sort of situation. So, because what do you think with the Sancho thing then, with this, right? Because
what does it mean?
Well, yeah. Is this a when with United going, look, it's not happening? Is this an idea of Ten Hag going, well, let's not get out of control here? Yes, I have some talks with Sancho, but come on, let's not go crazy.
I haven't. Excuse me, I haven't changed what I thought about the Sancho situation, which is that it's completely it's repairable. Whether Sancho goes on to hit his heights and can become a main player, and how this ends in the long run, that's a different show, a different question. But in terms of the now, like, this has happened, what could he ever play for us again? Of course he can. Of course he can. And if we do things correctly, which is what I want to happen during this week, it should be happening. The talk should be happening. The reprimand or the punishment should be agreed. And then you say what it is, you complete that, and then you're back in. Like, that's it. So I think the fact, but to your question, the fact that they're not going to get Al Ghazi, I would say that's definitely a positive towards, Jadon Sancho's situation, because I did tweet before this morning. I was like, if Ten Hag if Man United did get an emergency free agent in, or last minute free agent like now, well, not last minute, but a free agent in, that would speak damningly of how Eric Ten Hag sees the situation with Sancho, because really, let's not forget what Sancho is. Like, he's a seasoned pro at the top end of the game, cost 70+ million, done amazing at Dortmund, like to the point where we tracked him for 2 years. We really wanted this guy. When it was the first year, let's just cast our minds back a second to when we were looking at Sancho. We were saying, I remember a lot of people were saying anyway, me included, and I'm gonna hold my hands up. That first year we tracked him, when we had to pay 120 million euros, was it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because Dortmund went 120 million euros.
Well, and that was
120 million euros.
That was
120 million.
That was the deadline, wasn't it? By this day, if you don't bid, he's not covered. And we went, bullshit.
It's not, whatever. And the point where I remember they posted up, I think it was the new kit, and I think it was Axel Witsel and Sancho sitting on a step. And it was like, look at you smug because you know
Well,
he's
he was
staying
in
sort of thing.
training as well, wasn't he? He's here.
Training, he's here. They were doing it all. And I remember, right, a lot of us fans were going, typical Woodward. Watch it, just pay the money. We knew what they wanted all summer. We knew how much they wanted for him. And now we've waited too long and we've ended up with, who did we get that year? Was
That was
that
the year when we got Ahmad and Facundo, wasn't it? I believe.
what? And Cavani and that and Telles.
2020. I believe it's 2020.
Yeah. So we ended up with it was that. So and we ended up with that. And I remember when Ahmad and Palestri came in and we went, what's going on
Who?
here? This
Who?
kid,
They must be
Ahmad's
good.
only played like 4 games at senior level. Palestri's coming for like a bit of money as well. But I remember saying, what on earth is the plan here? So we wanted Sancho and we waited to the following year, and it was obviously a lot cheaper. But so my point is that Sancho is a big boy player. So the fact that we can't, if he would have got an emergency loan free agent, and you don't trust him to get back into the squad anytime soon, that we need someone else, that's damning. That's damning. So back to what you asked. I'm glad that we're not getting our Ghazi or anyone else. I'm glad that we're not doing that, because it shows that it could suggest, you can't say for definite, but it could suggest that it's not that bad. We can sort this out and get him back in the team as an option, because we do need him. I mean,
Yeah.
we're Anthony Light,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, actually, it's perfect time to say this next part when it comes to Ten Hag and Sancho. So it was reported yesterday that Erik Ten Hag has held talks with Jadon Sancho, meeting for the first time since the player's social media statement, but no real reporting on what the outcome of said talks were. There was some sort of scuttlebutt from the Daily Star saying that, Sancho was looking for moves away in January and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that can be seen as totally credible or official, that he's definitely 100%. He's off in January flex. He's gone. He's basically gone now. So we'll wait and see what the outcome of that is. But I just, steering it back to the El Ghazi one, it did just feel like, are we just assuming that Jadon Sancho is never going to play again? Is that kind of what we're what we're suggesting at this point? Because realistically, I mean, we were having a discussion, was it yesterday or was it on the Full View? I forget, they all bleed into one. But we were having a discussion of, is he going to play against Brighton? And I think the general consensus was probably not. There's got to be some form of punishment. But the idea is Jadon Sancho ever going to play again for Manchester United? I'd be stunned if he never, ever played again for Manchester United. And like January 1st, he's off. He's gone.
No,
I mean, because
that
is then very much a storm in the teacup. I mean, this is a thing according to reports, Erik Ten Hag is like, this has got way out of control.
Yeah. What could happen, though, what you can't rule out, and this is where I will be honest, this might be, let me know what you guys think, actually. But I still think that even once this gets sorted out and he gets reintegrated, say from now to January, I just don't think Jadon's ever going to get, especially in that time frame, the run of games and the main man and starting every game from this position or starting every game from that position and doing that impact, because of a couple of things. I think Erik Ten Hag is not feeling it. I just don't think he is. And I think as a result of that, Sancho's reaction to that, I don't think will be one of, I've got to force this through. I'll make it happen with you. And I think it could get to January, though, where he has come back, but he's got a few starts here or there, always the first to get substituted, or one of the first to get substituted on, just bit part. And maybe it could get a loan in January. But if that was to happen for Man United, again, it would be who Man United going to replace him with, and et cetera, et cetera. So, but I just don't think there's intricacies around how or what could stop a move happening in January. I get that, but my point is that I just don't see how it's going to work actually in the long term. So I am shifting the conversation. I just don't ever think it's going to work. And I hope I'm wrong.
I don't think overall you could argue that his overall long-term future has maybe changed that much. I just mean like the idea that if you were to get in an El Ghazi, it would imply that Like
Yeah, you don't rate
we've
him.
got one right winger because Sancho's never going to play again or something like basically. Well, we don't have Anthony for the same foreseeable future like with Anthony or whatever. You know what I mean? We don't have Sancho for that period of time. I just don't really see that, to be honest. Like I said, I see him not being available for Brighton. I don't say that he comes back and he's the right winger now. I think if you were Ten Hag and you were having the conversation of the talks yesterday with him, he would say, look, I think it was out of order what you posted. I was asked a question in the press conference. I answered it. I felt like I answered it as respectfully as I could. I feel like I've supported you within the last 12 months with other things that are going on. I don't know where that story came about, us releasing, disclosing your, problems without your wishes or without your consent, because it's got to come from somewhere. And I don't appreciate that. So look, you're fined, you're training with the under 21s this week, and you won't be available for the squad selection against Brighton, but then you can come back in. And then if you were Ten Hag, you would say to him, look, that spot's up for grabs, mate, at the moment. Yeah. And I'm not going to dwell on this. That once it's done, it's done. Once you're back into the team, I'll pick you. Or if you're good enough, I'll pick you. If you train well enough, I'll pick you. That's just about it. So I think that, I've said in like a week's time, 2 weeks' time, we'll have two right wingers available in Palestra and Sancho.
Yeah, and that's what. And look, what should happen here? Let's just be honest. This is my opinion. Let me know if you lot agree. What should happen is that Jadon Sancho should sort this out. They should find a way, whether it's a 1-game ban or 2-game, or like some people suggest, should just say sorry and get back in the team. Whatever it is, we've all got our opinions on what the punishment should be. But whatever it is, it should get sorted, and he should be the guy starting. We should be able to lean on our 70-something million pound player,
the highest paid player,
the highest paid player at the club. Yeah, I know we want Palestra to play, and I'm saying, in this while this is happening, he should. But Sancho is better than Palestra, like in his best form, like in what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
In every day of the week and twice on Sunday, we should be going, right, Anthony's not playing. Sancho, you get an extended run on the right. You're actually going to get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row.
But like it was in that, that first Ten Hag pre-season where it was Rashford, Martial, Sancho.
That was
you
the
just
original.
Replace Martial with Højlund, and then you've got that there.
So we know that Ten Hag has tried that in the past, and for various different reasons. Obviously, with injuries to Martial, Rashford started going up front, and Jadon Sancho was on the left quite a lot before Garnacho came through. So there was a lot going on last year, obviously with Ronaldo as well. So there was loads, but that's what I'm saying. Let's not get it twisted. What should absolutely happen is that the senior pro should be available for selection as quickly as possible and put in a shift, because this is a chance for Jadon Sancho. Out of adversity has come a ray of sunshine, really. And I'm not saying the Anthony situation is a ray of sunshine, because it's not. But I'm talking about on pure football terms for Jadon Sancho. I know he's got his thing going on, but on a pure football side of it, he's got an opportunity. He's got an opportunity that has never been there, which is this guy Anthony's always here. He always picks him ahead of me. Well, he can't pick him now. So give him an excuse to pick you. And then when you do play, give him an excuse to not drop you. Don't give him an excuse to drop you, or put in Palestra, or put in Mason Mount on the right, or put in Bruno on the right. You say, I've played right wing loads of games for Dortmund. That was my position before I came here. That was my position. I can play on the left and I can play on the right. Let me sort this shit out. Take whatever's coming. We have some clear the air talks. I wasn't happy with the way that you don't, your scapegoat, whatever it is that you feel you need to get off, the thing that Jadon Sancho said he's not going into right now. Go into it with Ten Hag. Go into it, get a solution, and get yourself back on the pitch, because you actually have an opportunity. This could be a massive turning point in his Man United career. It could be.
Yeah. Talk about a fork in the road. Either you double down on what you said and did, and that might be the only thing that could really sort of, I think, completely blow up that he never plays again, is if he has this meeting with Ten Hag and he just goes off on one, you know what I mean? And sort of says, no, I stand by what I say. I think it's all a disgrace, all that kind of stuff. Then you would say, look, you've done that.
Yeah.
One thing, one thing saying it on social media, it's another thing saying it to my face. And I don't think Ten Hag would take that, but I don't think he would. Again, we have to sort of steer it back to where this all originated. And it hasn't helped that it preceded an international break. So it's a week plus of just sort of simmering and marinating and getting into a being made into a bigger issue by the media, and the media certainly have played their part in making it way bigger than it is. But I don't know about you, Flex. I just feel like after like a week or so, it's going to be resolved. And then that's not to say that come January again, like a Saudi club isn't going, hey, we'll take him out. Ettifaq comes back in, goes, look, that loan we were going to do. How about we do that with the 50 million option clause or mandatory buy clause? And I think United would still accept it in the same way that I think in the summer, if they got a reasonable offer of 50 to 60 million for Jadon Sancho, United would have accepted it, because whilst he would have been available and in the squad, Ten Hag clearly doesn't fancy him as like his number one. I have to have him. Absolutely have to have him. That doesn't change. And I don't think that changes unless he has this, like you said, he comes back, running the side, plays amazingly well, and we go, oh, Sancho, he changed. His personality evolved and the relationship stronger, anything like that. I don't think that would change. I just think that, in the same way that when Ronaldo had his sort of walkout thing, and he missed Chelsea, the next one he was back. Because that's what Ten Hag will do in reality. But if an offer comes in January, he might take it because it's 50 million, and then maybe he can get another player he wants with that. But as far as that was the last time we ever saw Jadon Sancho play for Manchester United was against Forest at home. I just don't think that's going to be the case.
No, and let's be honest though, if big money came in for Sancho, they'll tell him. I think
that's what I mean.
I think, yeah. If 55 million came in or something like that, just sell him. I don't think Ten Hag, like you said, that he wouldn't be fighting to keep it. He wouldn't be saying that's a player I have to have. He'd rather take 55 million and get a different type of winger.
And he wasn't doing that in preseason anyway. He was, and Sancho was involved in the squads in preseason, all that kind of stuff. But I think if an offer came in, they're also looking at the wage bill and they're going, if we get him off that's what we really do need. So I don't think anything or any of this really changes any of that. If a Saudi club came in January and Sancho was open to it, I think that United would take it. But I still think he'll be used, because why wouldn't you use him? You just get on. There's an asset there to be used. I mean, what's worse? I mean, having that amount of money, on the bench that you bring on, or you maybe occasionally start him, or completely frozen out, he doesn't get touched again for a few months. You use what you've got, and I think that's what Ten Hag would do.
Yeah, he's got to. He's done it before. I mean, he's persisted with things until he can change it. Before, that's what you got to do as a manager. Do you know what I mean? There are some super chats. I'm going to get those read out. There's a couple that, to be honest, it's not really what I'm trying to get involved in, to be honest. But Sandro Rodriguez, I will acknowledge that you've had your super chat, and you said you were too tired to make dinner last night with the situation that KG's doing. That's, any updates and all that, go to his platform, go to the platforms involved and you shall find out. And Chris Johnson, to be honest, don't think that's appropriate, that super chat, but I acknowledge you made one. Ronnie says Mount did really well as a right winger at Chelsea. Mount he proved, listen, Mount's versatile, man. If you need him to, I'd rather him play on the right wing than Bruno.
Absolutely.
If there was ever a time where we needed to do that. I remember in a front three when Chelsea, because they used to play obviously 5 at the back, or 3 at the back if you want to call it that, 3-4-3, whatever. They had that quite a lot. Because they didn't really play a 10. They had Kante and Kovacic, didn't they? And then they had a front three of Havertz, Mount, Werner, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So he's good at drifting in. He's good at coming inside and working out what to do and when to do it. Good quality footballer.
And we're saying how's he going to fit in? We're saying if Amrabat's fit, if Casemiro's fit, if Eriksen's fit, if Kobe Mainoo's fit, we're going
might be on the right.
He might be
and Sancho comes back, might be on the right. Yeah. Lil Yo-Yo said the right hand side is cursed. Really curious to see what the manager does going forward. If Jadon performs, then it's resolved. Big up Fleck and Owen. Yeah, I agree with you, Lil Yo-Yo. I agree with you, bro. That's what I was just saying before. Just get it sorted, get in and perform. Because literally, you can turn it around. Innit, really?
And also think with this Sancho thing as well, we wouldn't be sort of talking about Sancho never going to come back. What we wouldn't be talking about that had El Ghazi's agent not made a thing out of this. And I'm sure that he's not the only agent to have offered his player to Man United in the last week or so. Hey, I hear you got some right winger issues. I've got a right winger. You interested?
That's his agent. That's the agent's job.
That's what agents do. Yeah. So it's just when you take a step back, it's just more sort of the media, particularly, we used to always have it in international breaks, don't we? There's always a story. And this is the story in the international break, isn't it? There's
It was
quite a
always
few
going to be
United.
that as well.
But yeah, that's the one from early on. They went, right, this is a thing. And they knew that because Sancho and Ten Hag weren't going to be at Carrington for like a week anyway, because of the international break and they're off doing their different things. They knew, we got a week of this. We can stretch this out for a week. And that's really what's happening. And my hope is maybe today, tomorrow, some kind of report comes out to say like it's done, it's resolved, it's fine. This is the punishment or whatever. Maybe we'll have to wait till Friday when Ten Hag's in his press conference and then he says, officially it's done, it's over. The thing that'll make it disappear is football matches, realistically, won't it? Once we play Brighton, whatever result that is, that will overtake that, and then we'll move on. After then it'll be the next drama that we've lost Flex. The sky's falling again. We're going to get relegated or something like that.
Yeah, it is like that. Like you said, these things happen, and like you said, the sky's falling. It's everything. But I still stand by that. Ten Hag has to get this right, though. Sancho needs to get this. Sancho needs to get this right. Sancho needs to get this right. But Ten Hag is the one who's in control. Or needs to make sure that he is, and he has to show the rest of the squad that he's serious. He has to show the rest of the squad that certain things aren't going to run. I still stand by that. I'm still, in my opinion, I'm still not fast tracking Sancho.
No, absolutely not. He should be out of that squad. Absolutely, he should not.
At least, even if it's just one game, fine. If you're going to be back in the squad against Bayern, cool. But I still see it as Sancho's got two things to prove. He has to prove, according to our manager, who we say we're going to back and get behind. According to our manager, he's saying that Jadon Sancho didn't train properly last week. So Sancho needs to make sure he trained properly from Monday to Sunday, right? And then even if he's not in the Brighton squad, he's done what he needed to do. And then if it's a one-game ban, cool, then you're on the plane on Monday night or Tuesday, whenever they go to Munich. Like,
that
needs to happen for me.
That story you said before, when I think it was Bruno was doing the interview about when Rashford was dropped and they were sitting on the bus.
And they couldn't believe it.
And they were sitting on the bus going, he's our best player at the moment. And the manager's dropped him. Oh, this is unbelievable. It's almost a similar situation in the sense of he's dropped Sancho and we don't have a right winger and he still dropped him because he doesn't care because that's the rules. That's the message that needs to be sent out there. It doesn't matter.
That's how you build a team.
It doesn't matter what situation we're in or the team is in or anything like that. The collective comes first, and one player sort of usurping the manager or breaking discipline to the manager, unacceptable. Punishment. Same across the board. Doesn't matter if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, doesn't matter if you're Marcus Rashford, doesn't matter if you're Jadon Sancho. Every single time the reaction is the same. Doesn't matter it's before a massive game, a small game, cup game, league game, Champions League game. It's all the same. And that's the message that needs to be sent out. You can't have normally I would fine you and you'd be out of the squad for another game, but we really need you at the moment, so we're going to play you. You can't send that message. You can't, because once you've done that, your word is kind of broken, isn't it? Players know what they can and can't get away with, particularly in certain situations. I can call out the manager if I know that I'm the only player in my position that's available. Now I'll find someone else. We'll do something different. That's what needs to be done.
Exactly. And what we want to see is a positive outcome out of this for both. We want to look back. We want to look back at that Arsenal defeat and go, turning point. It was the day that, Sancho did that thing. And now look at him. I couldn't see this happening. Well done to Erik Ten Hag and well done to Jadon Sancho. That's what we want. That's what we've always wanted. Do you know what I mean? And at the same time, you also want Ten Hag to be able to show the other players, like, look, if you're not doing it, I've proved it last year and I'll prove it again. Yeah. I'll move you on. I'm in control. And I know that comes with downsides. The downside to that can always be, if the manager makes rubbish buys, though, then you're stuck with his players. And, but Man United don't have a director of football and all that stuff above with a whole philosophy on how we want things to be, because we're a mess. So the closest thing we're going to get to some order is backing him. We've been through the manager merry-go-round. We've been through trying to change things upstairs. It doesn't work. And we're under the Glazers. So they're conversations for different streams as to what really needs to happen. Ideally, if you could paint the perfect picture, you'd say there's a team or a group of people who come in from outside. Well, you'd say there's a new ownership, obviously, first of all, and they would bring in a team of people like at Ajax, like at Bayern, like at Brighton, even like at Arsenal, where they're all on the same page and this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to play at all times, regardless of who the manager is. This is our ethos. And we'll get players in and around that. And then you get the styles of managers that drop into that style of what you want your club to be. But we don't have that. And because we don't have that, the best we're going to get under the Glazers is someone with a bit of Troy Deeney cojones, as he would say. You know what I mean? Someone who's got the balls to be able to say, this is how I'm running it. It's on me. Don't get me wrong. It's on me. I bought Anthony. I bought Højlund. I bought Martinez. It is on Ten Hag. It's a lot of pressure. But we need someone to do it, and we need to back him doing it. So I want to see him make the right decisions, man, and for the good of the club, we get the right results from it.
Yes. Just very quickly before we move on to the shirt sponsor thing, Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted in the last 60 seconds, Fleck, saying that he understands Manchester United now consider Facundo Pellestri's new deal as one of the priorities, as talks already took place in April and during the summer. Pellestri is under contract until June 2025. Talks over a new long-term deal are set to advance soon. So
that's positive as well.
I think, like he kind of mentions there, like I think those talks were going to kind of happen regardless, but it's an indication that there's long-term plans for him. And like I said before, this might just be that time which you go, I tell you what, where there was people ahead of him. There was Anthony, there was Sancho, there were respective things going on there. There were injuries as well. And Facundo came in, it was big games. It was Brighton, it was Bayern Munich away. And whoa, look at that. He's never looked back since. It might be like that. It might not be like that. Maybe after the end of the next couple of weeks, we go, yeah, he wasn't ready. We thought he was, but he wasn't ready. The only way you can find out is by giving him a shot. And I think it's times now, isn't it? Have a go, see what happens. What have we got to lose apart from football matches, obviously? But
yeah.
So no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Super chats. Lilio says, imagine Pogba is still our player, plus all this mess. Yeah,
That's a wild situation, isn't it?
Wild situation, and he isn't. So wish him the best in sorting that out. I only saw a bit of a bulletin about the drugs ban and stuff like that. I haven't even looked too far into what's actually going on. I know he's been preliminary kind of suspended, and he can request a B sample. But if he's found guilty of that, I saw some of the lengthy bans that were
could be up
to
about 4 years, apparently.
Yeah, 2 to 4 years. So I'm sure maybe some people keep an eye on that out of interest. But you're right, Lil Yo-Yo, not our player. But imagine that. Produced by Palmer Area says, if this was a leak / statement during the 21-22 season, we'd be going crazy. Sancho needs to go. He doesn't deserve any more patience. The trust is gone. Strong words by Palmeiras. Just off what Palmeiras just said there, guys, I know that was strong, but do you guys think it's that drastic? Do you think there's a way back for Sancho if he decides that it's now, if Ten Hag decides that it's now, or by doing that, is that do you agree with Palmeiras? Do you think he's done? What do you think?
Yeah, I think long term, there's an argument to me, like I said, in January, he might go in January or he might go next summer. And I wouldn't be against it. I wasn't against him going in the summer because I think it's fair to say that what we've seen at the moment, there isn't a lot to see really from him. And you can argue circumstance or, managers coming and going and a bad dressing rooms and all that kind of stuff. I don't think his long-term future changes all that much, realistically. Like we said, I think if a good offer came in January, if a good offer came in next summer, I still think he would be gone.
I think it worsens his long-term situation unless he comes back and does a madness, because really all it does is you're marked, aren't you? People don't forget things. Ten Hag's not stupid.
Exactly. But in the same way that he's not stupid, he wouldn't be like, well, I'm just going to, cut my nose off to spite my face.
Yeah, and he's never playing again.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Try and get a reaction out of him. But my long-term plan is, if the right money comes in, I can go in a different direction. That's the truth. That's how I think the truth is anyway.
Yeah.
Let's go for the next. Oh, actually, there's 1,700 people watching, and we've got 235 likes. Come on, peeps. Let's get to the 5. Let's get to the 500. Come on, for some hope that the Sancho situation can get resolved. Let's get to 500. Yes, and do subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. We're on 152,000 subscribers at the moment and counting, on our way to 153 quite nicely as well. So it all helps, guys, to support the channel. Big up to you. New shirt sponsor.
Yes.
TeamViewer,
Does this mean the
get
Glazers are
out of here.
staying, Flex? Wow. It was reported by Adam Crafton from The Athletic that Manchester United are in advanced talks over a new front-of-shirt sponsorship with the USA-based technology company, Qualcomm. Is that how you say it? Qualcomm? Qualcomm?
I went Qualcomm, but
Qualcomm,
could
quality,
be wrong.
Qualcomm, in a deal that would see them earn £60 million a year. It would be expected to commence in time for the 24-25 season. Now, obviously, Flex, the reaction to this was very much like, more money. More money means the Glazers are staying, Do you think this really has any impact on sort of the sale process or anything like that,
Nah,
realistically?
nah, no, I don't. I feel like the sale thing is just the sale thing. We know that there's going to be different times where Man United get a bit of influx of cash when new deals renew, or the TV rights. So, we have spoke about the Champions League pots going up, and we know this, but I don't think that means the Glazers will stay. You know what I mean? I still think we're still kind of in the dark about what they're doing, and they're just waiting for a higher price and stuff like that. But I still don't. It doesn't change my mind that they're gonna hang on just till the price just gets to what they want. I don't think it's to do with it's only 60 million. I know that says
Well,
only, but it's not.
they've been looking for a new one for a while, wouldn't they? Because by all
Yeah,
accounts, TeamViewer signed this long-term deal with United, and very, very, very quickly they recognised it wasn't value for money in their accounts, and United agreed because they realised we could probably get more money from other
yeah,
people. So there
yeah,
was this sort of agreement. I forget when it was announced. Was it last year? Sometime last year, it was announced that
yeah.
TeamViewer is staying for now, but
And now
once we find a replacement, TeamViewer said we're
it's
happy
ridiculous.
to.
Even that they ain't done
We're
properly.
happy
Even that
to.
they've signed a big deal with TeamViewer, and then a year later or whatever it is. Is it? What was the first year of TeamViewer? Was it Ronaldo? Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that was only last year. Was the first TeamViewer one?
2021.
Yeah.
2021.
21. Oh, what was last year? Oh, yeah. Of course, because we had the one with the collars. Yeah, so
Yeah.
2021, 2 years ago. And within 2 years, they've gone, well, not even 2 years. Within after the first year, they went, it's about this deal.
Yeah, both
Not
sides, by
really
the way.
working. Yeah, that's what
Mutual,
I mean.
mutual.
It's typical Man United. You're supposed to sign a shirt deal for the next, you know what I mean, 5 to 10 years. Easy. No problems. Most teams have had theirs for ages. Look, Arsenal. A bit different for them, actually, because the whole stadium's Emirates. But, like, I don't know. You're supposed to sort your shit out. And in true Man United fashion, we're out there searching for another one, which, obviously the job of the commercial team is to get as much money as possible to sell Manchester United. Like, if the Glazers weren't so greedy, because what we wouldn't mind, because that is the job of the commercial team. Make sure you
Yeah,
get as much. We are a massive product. We are a massive
yeah,
brand. Sell us. Get
yeah,
us drink sponsors. Get us flipping grooming sponsors. Get us bloody, you know, clothing sponsors, eyeglasses, sunglasses, all that. That's your job. But the reason why we get pissed off with it is because what's happening with that money is we know where it's going and who's taking it, and how the club is able to keep going without them putting anything in is because we're getting these deals. So they just get off scot-free, the
mm,
leeches. So, if this was a well-run club, we'd be like, look at this. Let's say this is Man City. I know they're like rich anyway, but let's just say it's Man City. They're getting, they've got the Co-op Arena, so they've obviously done a deal with Co-op to make that happen. The Etihad campus, obviously they've done a huge deal with Etihad, the airline. Like, they're doing shit properly. Don't know who they got on the side of their shirt, but they got another thing on there. Like, getting the deals for that, you'd be like, this is what we need, in cash coming in, spend it on transfers, keep everything ticking over. This is what a good club's supposed to do. How it's supposed to be run. But no,
but again,
not Man
I
United.
don't. I just, like I said, I think that I don't really think this has any real big impact on like the sell takeover process. Realistically, I don't think the Glazers look at going, look, we're getting 60 million a year, we're staying.
No.
Because the issues financially at Man United are far bigger than that. You know what I mean? They're far bigger, and the infrastructure issues are far bigger and far more expensive. This, to me, seems like more a situation of, look, business as usual, right? Business as usual. Like you said, commercial department, keep trying to do what you do. If there's any major update or whatever, we'll let you know. And it'll be interesting to see what a partner like Qualcomm would be told, like, because you'd want to know, wouldn't you? All right, okay, we're sponsoring the shirt. Like, what's going on with the future? Like, are we going to be dealing with different people in like a year's time, or what's this? Or is there like a break clause in this agreement that if some new owner? Because let's face it, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe wins the race, most likely he'd want his shirt to be sponsored by Ineos, or
Absolutely.
if it's Sheikh Jassim, it might be some kind of Qatari thing, whether it's Qatar Airways, anything. It could be anything, couldn't it? You know what I mean? So the point is that, if you're willing to be, putting your money into putting your name on a shirt, you'd ask, like, how long is this going to last? Like, is this a long-term thing or anything like that? So I don't know. Like I said, I saw it as just, okay, yeah, more Man United commercial stuff, but I don't see it as anything sort of long-term, that's going to impact the sale. I mean, oh my God, Flex, I think the sale thing in general. Yeah. What I still don't know. I still get that. I don't know if you do. Whenever you're just walking about and someone comes up to you and they go, "You all right, man?" You go, "Yeah." They go, "What's going on with the sale?" I go, "Don't ask."
I know.
I don't know.
It's not anything. It really isn't. Because we're just in the dark about it. We don't know what's going to happen. I just think that I'm sticking to my guns on it. That, when me and KG had that, I'll never forget it because it was so hot and the camera turned off. And it was one of the last shows we did in Vegas.
Oh, the Vegas one. Yeah.
Yeah. Where me and him were just kind of not arguing, but going back and forth about, I'm saying, listen, the Glazers ain't going nowhere right now. They're going to wait for the right price. They don't have to sell it now. And KG's like, no, they're never going to get this money again. They need to sell now. And I'm not saying that the club's definitely off for sale forever, but I just stick by what I said then. Then say the same thing now. I just think that they're going to wait and wait and wait until they get a higher price. They just want more money. They just want more. Let's move on to. Have we got any more super chats? Oh, there you go. Save the Jungle says we want 5 billion, actually 6 now. 7. Let's do 10. That's literally what the Glazers have been on. They've actually received a world record bid. It did go in.
Jassim.
You know,
Jassim.
Jassim.
It's like he has to fight to get to the J. Shake Jassim.
But yeah, they've proved that they just want more and more and more. They've received a world record bid. They've received more than the Chelsea one, where that set people try to say that off the Todd Bowley situation of how Chelsea got bought, although under different circumstances, that sent a benchmark. If Chelsea went for, what did it go for? 3 billion.
I forget. Was it 4.5, something like that? Maybe
it was 4. But whatever it was for the Chelsea one, everyone was like, if Chelsea's going for that, Man United's got to go for at least 5 to 6. Easy. You'd argue that Man United's double the size of Chelsea. Easily. You know what I mean? So on that metric, they want closer to 8. Who knows? 324 likes. We can still do a lot better, guys. We're coming towards the end of the show. So please, bang a like on the video as well. Bruno Magnifico.
Yes, does he get too much disrespect? Because, of course, last night, Portugal played Luxembourg. Now, yes, it's Luxembourg, but they won 9-0, Flex. And Bruno Fernandes got a hat-trick of assists, as well as scoring a goal in the 83rd minute. So he got a hat-trick of assists plus a goal as well. Now, obviously, social media was going crazy in a frenzy and overdrive. See, Bruno Fernandes, he's the GOAT. This is why. And you do go, look. And I think most United fans will take a step back and go, look, it is Luxembourg. Let's not get carried away. Yeah. But some of the assists, the one on the outside of his foot.
It's great.
But it opens up the bigger conversation, doesn't it, of does Bruno Fernandes get too much disrespect, not only from opposition fans, but also, I suppose, from Manchester United fans as well?
Yeah, I think so. I'm comfortable with my Bruno position. And that is that I understand exactly what he does well and the things that he doesn't do well. He's not the complete midfielder, but I think he's a leader. I think his contribution to games on a consistent basis is ridiculous. That's not fluke. That's not you can't be rubbish if you do that. You know what I mean? The way he impacts the game and provides chances, the way he assists, and he does it on a consistent basis. The numbers don't lie. And like Luck says there, Bruno is the most overhated player. And I've always said that he's the most overhated player, not underappreciated, not most disrespected. He's the most overhated. And the reason why is because because of the moaning and his mannerisms on the pitch, people don't like him, and they use that to cloud his performances and use that to cloud his ability because they don't like his personality. And personality is one thing. You don't have to like the player. You might think he's an arsehole. That's up to you. But the numbers that he puts up, and then all of a sudden, when other players start putting up some decent numbers for once, when Odegaard starts getting double figures, like,
I was going to say
all
it's
of
the
us,
Odegaard thing, isn't it? Something
now
like,
it's like,
yeah,
it's. Do you know what I mean? Bruno's been doing that for ages, mate, for ages. So look, stylistically, it does depend what you like in your footballer, because it isn't always about goals and assists. I do understand that. So, what if you like the X factor player where you just drop him in where there's technical ballers around him and you just free him up and say, you just create, you just be in a 10, just create. I've got really technical. I've got Rodri and I've got bloody Prime Kante just behind you. You go and do what you need to do. Yeah. Then this probably wouldn't be a conversation as much as it is. But because at Man United, with our midfield, it's been a mismatch the whole time. It's been a mismatch with Pogba not doing it. Because listen, he's been our most impactful player since he's got here. When Pogba come in, weren't doing shit. Bruno was holding down the fort, mate. Do you know what I mean?
and he's done it since then. He has,
And he's done it since then.
The goalposts for him, for whatever reason, always get moved, don't they? Because, for instance, when he was scoring lots of goals, it was, yeah, but they're penalties. They're penalties. Fernandes. That's the problem. They're just Fernandes. When he gets more assists, it's, sometimes it's luck, it's fluke, or United aren't winning enough games. Then it gets into he doesn't do it in big games. Then it gets to he's a moaner. Then it gets into he asked to come off at Liverpool, which he didn't. Even I don't know if Gary Neville's ever acknowledged that was wrong, but
Yeah.
I think that's been proven that wasn't the case. That was Gary Neville's sort of speculating at the time. People latched onto it, which look back on is a really weird thing for Gary Neville to do at the time, you know what I mean? Because people just hear that and they remember. They don't care what happened after it if it's proven not to be true. It's it happened. Gary Neville said it at the time. So, and look, is he perfect? No. And the problem is when someone's over hated, or the disrespect is too much. United fans or fans that really do like him, they overcompensate, so they gas him up too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it gets out of
exactly that.
control.
Yeah,
So you get the sort of hate that's just really ridiculous. But then so people feel that I've got to defend him, so I'm going to go and say he's the best 10 of all time. He's the greatest Man United player of all time. And you go, well, no, he's not. But he's also not as bad as everyone's making out to be. Sometimes we've got he's just rubbish. No. And you go, well, the numbers are pretty strong here. No, I don't agree. No. And yeah, obviously last night it's Luxembourg, so I wouldn't look too much into that. And I do think some of the sort of discourse surrounding it was a bit too much, because at international football you do have those games in qualifying where you win 8-9-0 or whatever, and people go crazy. They're kind of those stat padding games, aren't they? But as just the wider conversation, he is way too disrespected. He's the Manchester United captain for a reason. He got that position because he's been a standout for however long he's been here now. What is it, 4 years? When did he come? Or 3 years? 2020, came in January of. And he is a leader, whether you like him or not. And I think sometimes maybe us United fans, we listen a bit too much to the opposition. Sometimes when opposition fans are constantly telling you, this guy's rubbish, this guy's rubbish, this guy's rubbish, when they do have a bad game or a bad couple of games, although a team isn't playing very well, we go, maybe they're right. Maybe they're right, Flex. Maybe Bruno isn't that, And you sort of go, come on. His numbers do speak for themselves.
Yeah, and he's got his faults, and maybe he's got a couple more faults than other favourites that people are saying, like De Bruyne and Odegaard, and they're saying there's a couple of downsides to the way he plays. But I just think if he left, there would be a massive hole in this team. And I know people say, that's we can go and get someone else. And I'm telling you now, with how much he creates, and we need to see him now with this Højlund situation, because I'm really excited to see what that looks like. With a proper number 9 who's going to play centrally and make runs beyond towards the goal, in behind defenders. We now more than ever, now we've got that type of number 9, not a Martial type of number 9, not a Rashford number 9 who's not a number 9. Not a bit part Cavani who's always injured. Now we've got a number 9 who should be able to play a high level of games, and that type of striker. I'm really intrigued to see how he does. And now more than ever, we need to free up Bruno to be in his best position, which is
Yeah.
behind Højlund, giving him service. That is Bruno's best position. I don't like him on the right because he's versatile, because he's got heart and he's got IQ and he's an experienced player and he'll do a job. Ten Hag puts him there. I hate it. I think it's rubbish when he plays there. I think he has to play in the 10 against teams who are not very good, who don't have great midfields. We've seen last year he can play a bit deeper. He can do that. He's smart enough to do it. He's got a great range of passing. Easy. Long passing, driven passing, balls over the top, outside the boot. He can do it. I'm not saying he's Scholes and Gerrard level, but I'm saying that he can pick a pass from deep when he's got time and space. But again, don't really like him in that position.
No, and sometimes even the comparisons that's made between him and like De Bruyne, you go, well, they're not really that similar. De Bruyne's for me better coming from sort of the deeper role. You know what I mean? And I think, like for instance, if he did play at City, he would put someone like Erling Haaland would love to play with Bruno Fernandes. Because he would just constantly be feeding them, constantly creating chances. And you look at like the last year, as you mentioned, we haven't been playing with a number 9 because we didn't have one that was available. So like you said, the really interesting point now is he going to create these things for these chances for Rasmus Højlund? And people will say he doesn't turn up in big games. Look, there have been big games where you go, I tell you what, Bruno Fernandes wasn't on it that game. But that's happened with a lot of players. And I also remember last season, didn't he score against Man City Old Trafford? I believe he did, that goal that maybe shouldn't have counted and all that kind of stuff. I think he got goals against Arsenal, assists rather, against Arsenal last year too. So even that's kind of a bit of a myth, realistically,
Yeah,
and Shay Raman says, Owen, allow it. Let's not pretend Bruno could do what Kevin De Bruyne does at City. When did I say that? I said I said Erling Haaland would love to play with Bruno Fernandes because as a striker, you like people that create chances for you. Bruno Fernandes creates chances for people. Isn't he like top of the league in terms of chance creation? Like
since
last season,
he's got more, he's got better numbers than De Bruyne. Yeah.
That's what he does. He creates chances for people. If you're a striker and you live and breathe like Haaland does with like stuff happening to you in the box, service in the box, you want people that create chances for you. So, of course, any striker worth their salt would love to play with Bruno Fernandes because he creates chances for you. Facts.
Pespian says, I just don't like the fact that his output overshadows his overall 90 minutes performance. Without goals and assists, he offers nothing else, in my opinion. So, and look, that's the argument. Without the one thing that he's there to do, what does he do? So that's like saying the striker, if he doesn't score, what does he do? Now, I've always said, and you guys know me on this channel, I have always said it'd be very interesting to see what Bruno is like if he doesn't score or assist, but he always does. Do you know what I mean? Because I get what you're saying, Pespian. In fairness, you're saying like his playing style. This is what I'm talking about. If you want more technical players, they're going to take less risks. They keep the ball, total domination of the possession, and playing quite safe and just doing things at the right moments and not kind of trying things out there. Bruno's not your man. Bruno's not your man for that. Bruno is going to take risks. Bruno is going to try and create at all times. And yes, it does frustrate us. So I do see what you're saying, but it's just those kind of statements when we make them. When you're making it, you're kind of undoing your own statement by going, if he didn't do this, and this, he wouldn't even be good. But he does.
Well, Jake here says he doesn't always score an assist. That's the problem. So the standard, he has to do it every game, Flex. Every game, Bruno Fernandes has to score. And this is when I say sort of like, it just
polarizing topic, man.
The balance just gets too much with it. And I do agree. There are games where if he's not contributing, you go, Bruno's kind of ghosting a little bit.
Absolutely. I do agree.
And I agree with that. I do. But they also say that about other players that do affect game. For instance, I know they're not similar, they're not the same position, but like Erling Haaland. Remember last season when they say to him, if he doesn't score though, he's worthless, he's rubbish. But that's his job, score goals. And a bit like Bruno, there have been games where 75, 80 minutes into it, you go, I tell you what, Bruno's had a stinker. He's been rubbish. And then something happens. It comes out of nothing. Because that's what he is. And maybe that's what people don't like, is that it's so all or nothing with him. But I don't know. So it feels like the criticism almost reflects him, all or nothing.
Yeah.
Mo
V, Flex, you're a disgrace. Your Bruno agenda is mad. On that note, big up to you, Mo. Big up to you, Mo. Anyway, on that note, guys, we are out of here. Didn't quite get to 500. Didn't even get to 400. Can we get to 400 at least on the way out the door, please, guys? I know you're just forgetting. I know it's, I know what it's like. But no, we'll be across any news that comes out, obviously, during the day, if that should happen. And we'll be back again tomorrow morning with another Morning View / United news show. So take care, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we are out of here. Peace.